there. Welcome to The Dish with Danielle. I'm your host, Marlborough State Representative Danielle Gregoire. The Dish aims to be a show where we involve community stakeholders and talk about what's happening locally in our community, and also talk about the great food that's available in our community. Today, we're here at the Vin Bin with owner Rick Lombardi, and we're going to talk about how he got involved in the business community in Marlborough, some of the great offerings they have here at the shop, and just some of the other things that are on our mind today. So, Rick, thanks for having us today. I'm super excited to be here.
My pleasure. Thanks for coming in.
As you know, it's not the first time, and it definitely won't be the last. I might be a frequent flyer here at your fine establishment. We've talked a lot already before we got started filming about the grandma's meatball sandwich that's in front of me and some inspiration that your son, Mike, who is your chef, derived from his upbringing. Can you talk with us a little bit about that?
Yeah, it was, as you might expect, my son used to hang around the kitchen a lot with my mother, his grandmother, and was always interested in how she put together the Italian meals on Sunday. So he would spend Sunday mornings with her, and she would show him how she made her meatballs and the special recipe and how that all came about. And from there, he just took it on his own to develop a cuisine all his own, but always using grandma's recipe.
And he's a classically trained chef, and you've brought him on board here and his whole family at the sandwich shop that's located in the Vin Bin where it is now, but that's not where you started. Can you tell us a little bit about your start in Marlborough over 20 years ago now and how you got where you are today?
Sure. Well, when you say it that way, it makes me feel real old. Thank you.
Well, I was with you, so that makes me aging as well.
Yes, we started in 2004 across the street from this building, and we opened up the Vin Bin there, just a small wine and cheese shop, sort of a new concept for Marlborough. It wasn't a typical liquor store. It wasn't a convenience store. It wasn't a market. It was all of those things. And it sort of combined a different ethnicities in its entirety. It had Italian foods, Greek foods, mostly French, California. We brought it all together to offer to folks who enjoyed the same things we enjoyed.
And several years ago, you found that you needed more space to bring in the sandwiches and bring in a full license to offer the gamut to your customers. And now you're here in this historic building in Marlborough, but you also have other locations in the area as well. Can you tell us a little bit about those stores?
We wanted to move into the fire station, bring some liveliness back down to Main Street. And a lot of things happened at the same time. We were awarded a full liquor license, which allowed us to expand our offerings. We had much more space, and we built the store with the thought that we would bring a sandwich shop inside of it. And it wasn't really our intention to have my son, who's a chef, begin it, because we thought he was on his way to fabulous things. But as soon as he came in here, after he graduated Johnson & Wales and had worked in some of the finest restaurants around town, around Boston and around the country, actually, he said, I want to be here in home. I want to have a family-run operation. And that's when he began the Vin Bin Cafe in here. And that's what really put us on the map.
I couldn't agree more, and it's been a fantastic opportunity for you and your family, but it's also been a fantastic opportunity for the community and for the downtown area. And we talk a little bit when I see you about the development that's happening in the downtown area and the buildings that are coming in, and it always seemed to be a chicken and the egg situation. You know, how do we get businesses downtown? You get people downtown. How do you get people downtown? You get businesses downtown. And some of that all seems to be coming together today. Some projects, I understand, folks in the community may not be as excited about now, but I think when we look back in a few years, we're going to see that Marlborough was even greater than it was before. So can you talk a little bit about your experience of being a downtown business owner and what's happening now in 2025 and what's happened in the last couple of years and what we have to look forward to?
Well, I think you hit on it. The real driver for anything downtown has to be people. It has to be people who live around here, who work down here. When we were first opened down here, 5 o'clock at night, this place would just be very quiet because there wasn't any residents. People would just go away. It was very difficult to do business. But now with all the new apartments coming online, more people are attracted here in the evening. So there'll be more foot traffic. There'll be more things going on. There'll be more shops catering to those people coming downtown. So that's all a positive.
I agree with you 100%. I always try, I know as you do, to support local businesses. And we're going to be taking this show on the road as the season progresses. And we're not only going to be sharing delicacies at some of our favorite locally owned businesses, but we're also going to be sharing some of our favorite personal recipes that we use at different episodes later. So stay tuned for that. But what are some of your favorite spots in Marlborough, not just downtown, but in Marlborough and in the area, locally owned businesses that you enjoy supporting, and I think you all work together as a community?
Well, part of our mission is to always support local businesses. So we make it my wife and I try to go out to dinner all the time for local businesses in Marlborough and in Hudson. We do like to go to Chin's. We really enjoy the Chinese food there. But also Welly's, Double T, our personal favorite from many years ago, Kennedy's restaurant. We always go back to Kennedy. That's sort of our touchstone when we first came to Marlborough in 1982. And so we make Kennedy's a stop all the time. We head over to Hudson to the rail trail. We like to think that the rail trail did for downtown Hudson what the Vin Bin and Coral Seafood did for downtown Marlborough. Sort of sparked up a great interest in coming to downtown.
That's an interesting comparison. And I also think you've talked a lot about your work with the business community and your excitement about what's coming online here in Marlborough. I think municipal government and state government try to work hand in glove with the businesses to whatever extent possible. And you have been very supportive of whether it's the nonprofits in town or other groups that need help. I know we have the mayor's charity event coming up this week, and many local businesses will be involved in that, as they have been historically with the Evening of Giving and other things. So can you talk a little bit about your community involvement and what drives you in that regard?
Sure. Well, right in our mission statement, it says we support the community that supports us. We take that very seriously. Just a few years ago, the Vin Bin donated the children's room to the new library. We're very proud of that. We're also very proud of all the contributions we're able to make. We wish we could make more. We do get a lot of requests for donations every single day. We try to give as much as we can to everybody. But you have to do it. If you're going to be a small business person in a community, you have to be aware that you need to help out. And folks are going to be looking towards you, and you have to take on that responsibility.
And you're touching on leadership, right? And I think it would be remiss for us to not discuss today a leader in our community that Marlborough recently lost. City Councilor Don Landers was your ward councilor where you live, also here to this day in Marlborough with your wife, with whom you co-own the business. Can you talk a little bit about Don's impact on the community, and whether it was his visits to the MEDC or his tours of the city or just being supportive of local businesses? Talk a little bit about the legacy that Don leaves behind.
Oh, yeah, Don. Well, Don was my neighbor. He just lived a street or two over from where we live. We loved his yard. Don had the best landscape yard in Marlborough. And one of the things I always remember about Don, he always was smiling and laughing all the time. And I would see him come through the parking lot to go visit MEDC upstairs. He would always stop in and ask how things were going. How can we help? What can we do? What can we do? And he was always available. He was a great guy. He's been gone a few months, so we miss him terribly.
I think his impact was immeasurable, and I think it's a level of service and a level of leadership that we can all aspire to. And I hope to aspire to that myself when I'm not busy eating sandwiches and hosting TV shows. So we've talked a little bit about what's happening locally, a little bit about what brought you, to bring your business to the community that you love and that has loved you back and is grateful for you. Let's talk a little bit about what's happening at the state level and at the national level. Interesting times in which we live. We're in a winter day on April, mid-April for all intents and purposes, and things are happening daily. Can you talk a little bit about how some of these things impact your ability to do business, whether it's the issue around your license so that you can pour so folks can have a glass of wine on the patio this summer when they come for lunch, or whether it's the proposed tariffs at the federal level? We can talk about a little bit of both of those things and just how some of those things are impacting your business, but then how in turn they impact your customers.
Yeah, I think people have to pay a little bit more attention to the tariffs, more so than they are now, because the tariffs don't just affect specific goods, but a whole range of things you may never even know about. And everything that they touch is going to increase pricing everywhere. We just got a notice from our cheese companies that some of the products that we get from overseas are going to be impacted by tariffs, and they've already told us to prepare for price increases. Obviously, with
we're going to pay it no matter what it costs. Yeah, that cheese. I just want to make sure that you're aware of that. We're going to pay for the cheese because you always get the good stuff.
Yes, we do. And the other big feature is the wines. Wines coming over from Europe are going to be impacted. We were over in Paris last month for a wine show, and it's all we talked about was how is the tariffs going to affect our business. We met with some producers who told us that most of the wine they allot for the United States will be diverted to other countries because they're not going to pay the tariffs. And they don't actually pay the tariff. They actually share the cost of the tariff with our importer. But they're not going to do that. They're just going to ship it to other countries where they won't have to face that at all. So there'll be a shortage of some wines, and there'll definitely be a price increase. They're already working on those now, and we're just waiting to see what the bill's going to be to us.
So I know that the House budget will drop next Wednesday, and every time someone has come to us in the last couple of months with a meeting asking whether it's a budget request or a piece of legislation or anything like that, we have a lot of uncertainty because it's so hard to keep track of what's happening and how fast everything is coming at us. And I've heard it described as a sandstorm. I've heard it described as a meteor shower. I've heard it described as so many different types of things, just where it's everything all together all at once. And that makes it really hard for us to govern. And I can't imagine how difficult the unsurety of it all makes it for you to move forward as a business.
Well, trying to budget what we're going to need for the rest of the year is becoming very difficult. We're sort of playing it by, let's see what happens next month and what happens next month. But there's a lot of uncertainty, not just on our level. We're the retail level. We're right on the ground level. But the folks way behind us, the distributors, the importers, they have much more to lose than we do, and they are trying to put together a plan that's going to help us and help themselves. And we haven't seen anything yet that'll save us from any of this.
It's hard to plan when you don't know exactly what's coming at you. I mean, some of the things that have come out of the federal government have been rolled back in as little as an hour. So the uncertainty is impacting every level of everything that American consumers are involved with, and that makes it difficult. That having been said, I think we have a lot of things to look forward to in the coming budget cycle. Massachusetts is in an unbelievably strong financial position where we sit right now. We have a high bond rating. We have more money in our rainy day fund than we've ever had before because we made a commitment to invest, knowing that eventually the bottom would drop out. We've been in a boom economy for quite some time now, 15 years, some might say, a little less than that. And unfortunately, with a boom, usually there comes a bust. These things move in cycles. So I feel confident that we're prepared. I'm working with the mayor's office to get our budget requests ready for later this week. And we're working with local nonprofits. We're working with the Boys and Girls Club. I'm working with the folks at the MEDC and some of the historical preservation groups because, as you may know, next year is the 250th anniversary of America's freedom from tyranny and dictatorship. And so we're planning some big celebrations for that. And there are groups in Marlborough that are really excited about that. So those are some of the things that I'm looking forward to. And I'm sure that some of those things will involve the local businesses and be bringing people to town, whether we're out talking about the John Brown Bell or some of the other things that are bringing people to town. And we're going to be looking forward to bringing more people to business and showcasing what it is we do here in Marlborough, because I do have a lot of my colleagues ask where the success comes from with the Marlborough Economic Development Corporation, with the chamber, with the relationship with the state government and the municipal government and our partners in federal government. And I hope you felt benefited by that, and I hope that we can continue to work on our relationship and make sure that your business continues to thrive.
Yeah, especially you mentioned the MEDC. I think the model, the MEDC model with the city the way it's worked. It should be a model for the rest of the state. They have made some tremendous growth across the city. They've helped us out. They've helped out almost every single business downtown. And because of that, we're a lot more resilient to some of the problems that come down the road. And I think that's one thing we can do that maybe some other towns can't do, is that we have the ability to be resilient because we have a lot of people supporting us and finding ways to get things done.
Well, we have, to your point, we had a long-term vision. I mean, the Marlborough Economic Development Corporation, when it was originally founded, was coined as the Marlborough 2010 Corporation, and then we later had to change the name. Marlborough is in a unique position with the number of hotel rooms that we have here, and the City Council did pass the additional hotel nights tax back in the early 2010s, and that has given us the money that they use to run the MEDC. And the additional meals tax that they also passed has given us the money to invest into our parks and rec system. So it was a long-term plan and a long-term goal, but we are uniquely positioned, whether it's our investments or our assets like the hotels and restaurants that we have here, or things like every single one of my colleagues says to me, I know where Marlborough is. My kid played hockey.
Yeah.
I know where the New England Sports Center is. They're huge economic drivers for the city, but I think it's, again, as a result of a long-term vision, as a result of a unique geographic position at the crossroads of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. And, it's our job to make sure that people hear about that. And I think that's part of what taking our show on the road is about, is showcasing the gems of Marlborough and showcasing Marlborough as a community that's unique and that's moving forward despite whatever the challenges are that we might face. So I'm really grateful for you taking some time out of your day, feeding me this delicious sandwich, which, again, I have had many times before and will have many times again. We're exploring a new concept with the show, and we're kind of just feeling our way through. But I think this has been a really great start. I'm really grateful for you having me here, for your friendship over the years. We've known each other a very long time. Full disclosure, I did work at the Vin Bin when it was located across the street when I was in law school and working at the State House during the day. 2 jobs has never really been enough for me. I like to be busy all the time. So we're just kind of getting our feet wet with this first episode, but I'm grateful for you. Can you do me a favor and remind the folks one more time, if they're unfamiliar with the Vin Bin, give yourself a little plug, make sure you let them know where you are, and then we'll wrap up from there.
Okay. All right, the Vin Bin, our main headquarters is 91 Main Street in the old fire station, downtown Marlborough. We've also got 2 other locations, one on Route 9 in Southborough, and also in 22 South Street in Hopkinton. The one in Southborough and this main store have the cafes. And if you happen to be in Hopkinton, next to the Vin Bin, my son has just opened a donut stand there, and it's really going crazy. If you like real crafty donuts, my son Michael and his wife Hannah have opened up the donut stand. And you can always look us up at thevinbin.com to find out any more information about us. And don't be strangers. We treat everybody as our guests who come in here.
Thanks for that, Rick. So thank you for tuning in to this inaugural episode of The Dish with Danielle. Again, I'm your host, State Representative Danielle Gregoire. My information is always available. I'm going to talk to my fine friends at WMCT-TV to make sure that they put my contact information in the ticker for the show, because I want you to reach out to me with whatever your issues are with state government, or we'll try to figure out a way to help you out no matter how we can, put you in contact with the right folks if you find yourself in a pickle. So thanks for watching. I hope that you'll continue to tune in and watch us as we grow the show and involve more and more people in our community. And I look forward to seeing you next time on The Dish.